It's not morning. Depends on where you're at, right? My name's Dante Barnett. Dante SuitMan Barnett. If you guys don't know, this is the first episode of the Autastic Artists Beautiful Minds podcast. Autastic is a combination of two words. First word's fantastic. Second word is autistic. So every artist, every entertainer, every person, including myself, is either somewhat on the spectrum, soon to be on the spectrum, or diagnosed on the spectrum. I like the way Juliana already laughed at that one. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am Dante Suitman Barnett. I host a ton of comedy shows. I host this as well, which is a new podcast to highlight those people who are on the spectrum, share their story, and really give everybody opportunity to be inspired. A lot of people don't know a lot of entertainers, a lot of artists, a lot of comics are autistic. It's a great way for us to express ourselves. And when we have the mic, we're in control, so you can't stop us from talking. So we're going to see how this goes. This might not go good. This might be a train crash. We all know that, right? But this should really be a good time. We're going to spend the next hour to hour and a half highlighting Juliana Heng, our first guest, and also having her interviewed and given questions by other people within the autistic community, and also myself as a comedian. So first up, I want to introduce our regular co-host of the day. Give it up for Audra Sisak. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Audra.
All right. So currently living in Washington. So co-host, co-producer, but my friend Dante is the main person for that. I'm an advocate in the community for autism and epilepsy, and I actually am a therapist and have clients that I work with who are autistic, mainly ranging from the ages of about 8 years old to about 21. I specialize in the adolescent range because that's where a lot of kids need the most help. But I thought this was a great show because, like Dante said, we need to start highlighting those creative outlets and those artistic outlets because I want to break that stereotypical mold that we are not all science and math based. We can be anything.
That's so cute, even though I'm Rain Man. I love that. I'm Rain Man. I'm not going to say nothing else. Our next co-host today is Janejira. She's actually SuitMan's artist. So if you love any of our logo work, our flyers, tell us a little bit about yourself, Janejira. Who are you?
Hello, I'm Janejira, the one and only. I write books, I play music, I do almost everything except for pottery because I don't know how to do that and I don't have the tools and I don't really want to. The thing I love about this podcast is that we actually get to hear actual voices from the community instead of people who speak for the community, but they're not helpful to the community at all. Looking at you, Autism Speaks, and see his new movie coming out that doesn't actually have a person. Yeah. I'm on the spectrum, and this surprises people because they're like, but you socialize with people and you're so normal and you can connect with people and all that. And I'm like, yeah, because I had to struggle to figure out how to like be like everyone so I don't feel so weird. And then I kept feeling weird. And then I was like, how about I just be myself and then I don't feel so weird. And it's fantastic.
Hey, a little heads up too, just so everybody knows, Jane is actually going to be our guest next month. So next month you'll get to see Jane. We'll go and delve into all her crazy projects. It's funny because you can know somebody and not know them. She's been my artist this whole time, and when I brought up the project, she was like, "Oh my god, I'm on the spectrum." And I was like, "Oh, I thought you were just weird." No, just kidding.
Yeah.
I thought you were just part of this weird book club too. I didn't know you were special. And that's the other part. Like, a lot of people look at me and go, "How do you know you're on the spectrum?" And I go, "I don't, but I somehow always know when everybody else is." So I think that's got its own indicator. I've met people and they're like, "I'm special." And I'm like, "Oh, I know. That's why we get along. I just look like this. I'm the spokesperson, right? I'm also the bully. When you start getting bullied, you call me and I beat up the regular people."
Yeah.
Why do you think I keep him around?
Thanks, fuck you. But let's not waste no time. Our guest today is someone special to me, because they were my first comedian that I booked that was on the spectrum. They're the first international act that I booked when I started going on SuitMan.com and doing my online shows, and they made me really think outside the boxes what I wanted to offer via Zoom, because there's nothing stopping us right now. You know what I mean? Other than getting up at 6 a.m. So this was a little earlier for them, or getting up a little later for Australia. There's not really much that stops you from being a worldwide company offering worldwide entertainment or having worldwide guests. So this first person really inspired me because they're funny. It's one thing to say you're autistic and have an autistic comedian on. It's another thing to have a funny comedian on, right? So she's actually there, I should say. They're actually a funny and autistic comedian. We came up with the word autastic as kind of Janejira's little baby. It's autistic and fantastic together. So she is definitely an autastic comedian. Give it up
the
for
word a positive connotation.
There we go. There we go.
Yay!
Give it up for our first guest and tell us a little about yourself, Juliana Heng. Woo!
Yay!
Hi everyone. I am Juliana Heng from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Nice to meet all of you.
Yay.
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 We need like a sound effect board.
Yay.
That's your project for next week, Janejira. So here's the thing: is that you told us a little bit about not being formally diagnosed, but what's kind of you said that you had a diagnosis. Tell us a little bit about what your diagnosis is and when you found out, if you can, Juliana.
Sure, I will. Okay, so the thing is, at the moment, I'm currently working on getting my diagnosis. So, I mean, before that, I will tell you how I come across autism. So for me, it's like I've been struggling to connect with people since I was a kid, because I'm always the oddball, you know. It's like, and people just think that I'm in my own world. But the thing is, no one tell me that I'm on the spectrum until I started working. So when I started working, sometimes bosses get mad at me when I misunderstand an instruction, or even when I have a difficulty understanding or difficulty hanging out with my other colleagues. And that's when sometimes the boss, they just carelessly throw the word like, are you autistic? You know, those kind of stuff. So I was like, at first I was offended listening to that, because I was like, why do you say that? Because again, as Asian, our understanding of autism is very warped. We understand it as either people like Rain Man or either none. That means you can be autistic or just none. There's no spectrum at all. So that's why it can be offensive when you just say they use this among co-workers, where those who are, that means they have a bit of a lack in understanding, then they will just hold that word very carelessly and say, you are autistic, you know, you don't understand what I say, you know. And for me, it's like I was upset, and I'm in denial. I don't even want to find out what being autistic is, because there is a lot of negative connotation, especially in Asia. But after a while, I kind of sweep it under the carpet for a few years. I resigned, I left my job. I had difficulty working even with a few companies and sticking to a day job. And I also did not have a lasting friendship, and also lasting sort of like connection with my ex-colleagues, because a lot of people that I know, they stick with their colleagues for quite a long time. But for me, it's unfortunately out of sight, out of mind. It's like I did not know how to maintain a relationship well. So it's quite hard. But after that, I started doing stand-up comedy. And for my first 1.5 years, I struggled. Again, I don't know what am I doing on stage. A lot of people would have gotten their type 5 in their first year, and I still don't know what am I doing on stage. And one of the comedians actually pointed this out, because he's considered like a reviewer. That means he performs as well, but he sits behind and take notes, because the comedy club wanted him to do that. Say that, okay, you are good at analyzing jokes. Why don't you sit behind, take notes, and talk to the comedians on how to improve their act? And every time when any comedians, all of us, we line up to listen to feedback, a lot of them will get very technical feedback, like, okay, you need to punch this up, you need to sharpen the twist, you need to do this, do that. And when he is giving me feedback, he's always telling me like, Juliana, I don't know what to say to you, because I noticed that it seems that you don't know what you're doing. You're on stage, you are doing stuff, but then you cannot tell whether, I can see that you can't tell what the audience are feeling and thinking. It's like you're just doing your own stuff, you have your own script in your mind, you just do it and you get off. You don't care what the reaction is. He kind of feel that I may be on the spectrum. But again, I was triggered after what he said, because that reminds me of my working days again, where words of being on the spectrum are thrown carelessly. So that's why I was a bit upset, and I was like, oh no, what do I do now? But I think in 2019, I was blessed, because that time they have I think autism awareness is starting to become quite a thing in Malaysia. That means people want to understand more about people on the spectrum. So they even have a sort of like a testing. That means not to say testing, more like an event where they get kids to actually go and get diagnosed. So get children. So they will have people who sort of diagnose children and see whether they are on the spectrum. And that time I just write in. I write in and say, I'm about 28 years old. I think I'm on the spectrum. I need advice. Can I come? Although I'm not a kid. And that time they say, yeah, sure, please drop by. And I dropped by, and the person who is a therapist, she is shocked because she thought that I'm a kid. Yeah. So she said, but I don't do diagnosis for adults. Yeah. So that's why she said that, why don't you go and see a doctor? That kind of stuff. Then for me, I kind of sat on that for a while, because at one point of time, I even think that maybe I don't need this, that kind of stuff. I know that I'm on the spectrum. And then the doctor also, after hearing a bit of my history, the therapist herself also said that, yeah, you are on the spectrum, most likely on Asperger's, but I cannot verify because my testing tools are all for children. So you will have to go and see a psychiatrist or another professional. So, but the thing is, in Malaysia, mental health care or even getting a diagnosis can be quite exorbitant. So a lot of time, especially as a creative, funding is, I mean, we want to keep body and soul together. Even to get a meal to pay for fuel also is difficult. So that's why that time I was like, thinking, what do I do? It's like I wanted to have more certainty in what I'm experiencing, rather than to be worried, So to be worried that, oh, maybe I'm not really, maybe it's just my mind playing tricks on me, that kind of stuff. But I have a few special ed friends. I mean, they teach kids with special needs. A lot of them were like saying, yeah, you seem to be on the spectrum. It's just that it's always better to have a doctor to look at it. So after about 1 year since that conversation with the comedian who talked to me and a few other people in my life, and that time I also started to discover a bit more about autism, because that time I almost gave up stand-up comedy 1.5 years in, because when the therapist told me you could be on the spectrum, and that possibly explains why you cannot pick up reaction from your audience, and you don't really know how to adjust on stage accordingly. That time I was frustrated, because I was like thinking, oh, so I can be the most hardworking comic in Malaysia, but because of me being on the spectrum, I'm never going to be as good as other comics, and it's a waste of time. It's like if I continue to do comedy. And so I decided to do poetry. Yeah, so I went to write poetry, sad poetry. Yeah, I say that, okay, I'm sad, I have a sad life, whatever. But that time, there's this one time, one of the workshop, I went for a poetry workshop, and they asked me to write something that's bothering me that time. So I actually sit down and I write. But because I'm no longer pressured to be funny, because as a poet, you don't need to be funny. So that time I really drill deep into my own emotion, and I write a lot of stuff about being on the spectrum. And that time I was like, wow, this is so much of funny things actually I have not think of if I did not do poetry. So from then on, I bounced back into comedy, and somehow people say that, wow, your material and your persona suddenly just jive. It's so right, compared to the other stuff. you pretended to be neurotypical and all those stuff, and it's like, so it just merged, your personality and your materials just merged. So but after 1 year, I was like still thinking, okay, but at the end I decided to look for a specialist. So last year I actually went to see a doctor, November. So I went to see, and then but the doctor at first told me that you're too normal to be on the spectrum, the way you speak, the way you behave, and you have empathy, so you are I don't think you're on the spectrum, that kind of stuff. So I was a bit sad, that time when she said that, oh, you don't look like on the spectrum. But that is because we have been consistently masking. That means we have been protecting ourselves by pretending, to be normal, when in fact we are not. We are just trying too hard to fit in, so people don't say we are weird, and it is
I
quite
guess
hard. So yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. I guess
yeah,
a lot of people feel a lot of negative things about being on the
yeah.
spectrum. I don't know. How do
But
you guys feel about that, Audra and Jane?
That just my whole like teenagehood just flashed before my eyes. Um, so the thing about like stuff is that my mom didn't want me to be diagnosed because she thought that I wouldn't get a job because of it, because the stigma is like super, super bad. So that made me realize that like it's hard to talk about. And like when I tried to talk to like teachers and stuff and be like, hey, I think I'm on the spectrum, they like kind of looked really sad, and they're like, oh, no. And I was like, this is not a sad thing. I don't understand your sad face right now. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my mom never pursued a diagnosis because why? Otherwise, if she did, I would be classified into a whole nother category that she didn't want me to be in, which was stigmatizing very much at that time. I didn't pursue it until I got to be an adult, which I understand completely is a privilege on my part just because of the field that I work in. I find it interesting because Juliana is mentioning that, you know, she's having these people say, oh, well, I don't diagnose, but I'm going to go recommend you to the doctor. And then the doctor's telling her, oh, well, you don't look autistic and you show empathy, so you can't possibly be autistic. I mean, I can't believe how many times I've heard this.
Well, I guess that's the crazy part, is we're in America and mental health is a priority now in America. I mean, it's not a top priority. I'm a certified peer myself, so I know they're trying to make it more prevalent. But in other countries like Mexico, Asia, other continents, autism is finally even being diagnosed, I guess, right? And how would
Yeah.
you say about that, Juliana? Like, is it a
I
new
would,
thing?
yes, it is. In fact, we don't have an expert, because the last time, I mean, in November when I went for the try to get a diagnosis, they say that, oh, we actually don't have a specialist to do that. We don't have a specialist who can diagnose, unless you go to like Singapore, where everything is 3 times our currency. So it's like in Malaysia, there's no one who knows how to do the diagnostic properly. Like for kids, they know, but not for adults. So for them, it's like, as a kid, they say they have enough tools, but for adult, it's so tricky. And ended up, they also discouraged me from pursuing at that time, because they said it is expensive. You are kind of living your life to the fullest. Why do you want to do this? And also another thing is, they kind of fear is, they felt that you are, especially when you're an adult, especially you're in the creative, because well, they do ask what you do for a living, and sometimes they are afraid that, oh, this is only for commercial reason. It's for you to say that, I got the diagnosis, so I can do jokes about being on the spectrum, those kind of stuff. So they are quite concerned about that. But what she told me that time in November was, why don't we talk next month, which is December. I need to watch your comedy videos first. So she said, to understand you a bit better in the things that maybe you could have displayed some other symptom that I can't see right now when you're sitting in front of me, that kind of stuff. So that time, I think on New Year Eve, I actually went back to see the doctor. And the doctor actually said that, yeah, after I watched your comedy video, I realized that you have traits of being on the spectrum, because I can notice, because she has watched a lot of other comedy shows, and she noticed that I lack of spontaneity. It's like I'm very scripted when it comes to my stuff, and yeah, it's scripted because I really calculated carefully everything, like whatever I tell a joke, I know how long to pause, this kind of stuff. I already worked that all out. So it definitely, there's some plus and minus, like you're not exactly, that means I think I need to pause for 2 seconds, but maybe audience only laugh 1 second, or either they laugh more 3 seconds, but I am unable to pick up when I'm on stage. So there is variance lah. Yeah.
It's so funny that you say that, because before today, I was actually running through scripts in my head to make sure I had exactly what I wanted to say for today, for the, those hypothetical conversations that might come up.
It's funny because for a lot of comedians, Zoom has been hard. And I think Juliana's seen me before. I know all you guys have seen me. And it's easy for me because I know when everybody's supposed to laugh. So I just do my material. Juliana's seen me. I've done. So my name's Duante. It's spelled all fucked up. I wait. Yeah, it's Duante. I wait again. Yeah, I get Duante, Dwayne, even Duante sometimes. It seems weird, but you're laughing in between, and people are like, "Why is it so easy for you?" Because this is when you're supposed to laugh. The worst part, though, on these Zoom shows is when somebody laughs when they're not supposed to, and you're like, "Hey, fucktard, that's not the punchline. You're supposed to wait 5 seconds.
Wait,
you can't laugh. No, you're not supposed to laugh yet." And I guess that's where like my autism or the idea that I might be autistic comes into play, because I can remember when I first started comedy, that used to piss me off. I'd be like, "Why the fuck are you laughing? I haven't said," you know what I mean? I wouldn't say nothing, but I'd get off the stage and I'd tell my other comedians, "Man, that fucking lady ruined my joke. I was all ready. She fucking laughed. I wasn't even ready to tell the joke yet. Like, fuck her." And the dude was like, "Why are you mad?" And I was like, "Because she wasn't supposed to laugh yet. I
didn't say it yet."
You know what I mean? And then even just listening, like, I remember the joke that you told that really got me was you said, "I'm autistic. So when people tell me a joke, sometimes I laugh now and sometimes I laugh later, just like some of you guys. Some of you are like me. Some of you are gonna," and I was like, "Oh!" You drop the mic, you run out the room, and everybody else in the room was like, "What'd she say? What'd she say, bros? Oh, you're gonna laugh late? Oh, you're..." Never mind. You know what I mean? And it was just, it's one of those where it's those subtle little jokes. And then, like, even listening to your story, it sounds like you were writing jokes that were funny to you, but those aren't going to be funny to everybody because we don't all have your brain, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you just started writing about your experiences, which is something we try to teach comedians as we get longer in this, not like I've been in this forever, but the more you write about your experience, the more wholesome it is for everybody, because everybody has different feelings. So even though whether or not you're autistic or not, we all have that lack of self-confidence or that uneasy feeling and stuff like that. Let me ask you, what's changed? I mean, since you've given into the idea that you are on the spectrum, what's changed for you?
Oh, good question. So for me, when I discovered that I'm on the spectrum, I kind of think suddenly a lot of things that I experienced in the past, they make sense. They're like, "Oh, no wonder that happened," that kind of stuff. And I think the acceptance is very important, because that helps me to be less harsh on myself, because I can be very brutal on myself. Like, I tend to compare with people a lot at one point of time, because I think that I'm neurotypical, so I tend to compare to other people, and it stresses me out, when I cannot match them, those kind of stuff, and it's very tiring. But when I know that I'm on the spectrum, I was like, instead of me beating myself up for things that I cannot achieve because of my own spectrum, this kind of stuff, my own uniqueness. So I feel that I am more like, okay, I accept myself, and that opens up a lot of things. And I started to make friends. That's the best part, because before that I tried to make friends, but then people always tell me that you seem to be trying too hard. like, oh, you know, you want to date also, you're trying too hard, everything you're trying too hard, because yes, we have a plan every time, like what Audra said. Now we already have a plan of what we are going to say, everything, you know. So we're already planning, you know, already the date is only on this weekend, but we are already planning about it now, you know, like already planning, and then say, okay, this is going to happen. But when this did not happen, it's like, oh my God, you know, that kind of stuff. So
That's right.
yeah, so we are having a mental script. And then, but when I start telling people that I'm on the spectrum and I just own it, you know, just be open about my situation, surprisingly, I meet more friends that way rather than to like hide it and pretend that, I'm okay, I can handle everything, you know. Yeah.
Welcome to being a black man, Juliana. You just described being a black man. We have no feelings. We're always strong. There's nothing wrong with us. You're just not scary. If you were scary, I'd call you a black guy. No, it's funny. It's funny you said it that way, because I got diagnosed anxiety, depression, and, you know, I'm partially on the spectrum, obviously. And so for me, when I started accepting those things, I found people understood me better. And it's, you know, I'm high anxiety, and they'd be like, "Oh, so that's why you act like a scared white girl all the time." It's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm self-conscious all the time. And then the other one was like, women always think I'm romantic, and I'm not romantic at all. I just want to know what the fuck is going on. So I need a plan. And it's not so much I'm romantic. I just need to know how much I'm bringing on this date and who's paying for what and where we're going. And I've got IBS. I don't want to be shitting myself later. So what are we eating? You know what I mean? Like this is all got to be planned out. That's and by the way, fuck you and your Rain Man comment. I just got to say that I am like Rain Man. I'm the statistics guy. And I guess, you know, they say, like they talk about it's a special talent. And I'm pretty sure Janejira and Audra will tell you, in 27 minutes, I designed the flyer. I know what we were going to do for the show. We pretty much said, let's kind of do something. And in a matter of 27 minutes, my mind went, here's the name. Here's the slogan. This is what it's going to look like. And people don't know that that's how fast our minds work. And so it's a benefit. But then when people get around you, they go, I feel dumb. And it's like, you're not dumb. I'm just like a super processor. Like, it isn't. But then we start talking emotions, and I can't talk emotions. And they're like, why are you crying? And I'm like, because you said you didn't like my dragon. And I don't know. I put all day into
so
this
many
dragon.
feelings.
Yeah. Jane knows, like, all best. I don't know. I'm not successful. I'm doing a shitty job. And they're like, no, you're doing great. And I'm like, they're not.
The stars are out of line, and it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think there's that attention to detail. And like when I hear you, it's funny because I'm this hybrid person. And so I'm normal, but I'm not normal, you know what I mean? And so I heard, like, when you first started talking, I heard all this anger and frustration. Is like, I get it. Welcome to being black. We're never understood. I go to work every day. You're so angry. Are you black? Instead of saying autistic, they just say, are you black? And I'm, yes, I am. Fuck all you guys. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
They didn't tell me I was autistic. I took that instead. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna go cry for a little bit. One of you guys ask a question, please.
Oh my gosh. Well, I would love to get to know Juliana a little bit better, just because we have sort of become friends a little bit, and I've gotten to know them a little. So I have to ask, tell me about your dad. Is he like this super awesome guy? Because I saw the TikTok video and I loved it.
So what is the
he
TikTok
is.
video? For all of us who don't know, tell us, what is the TikTok video?
Okay, a TikTok video is actually like a video you shoot within the shortest is 15 seconds, the longest
hold on,
is 1 minute.
That's how I
think
know you're on the spectrum. You gave me the exact answer. I meant, what about your TikTok video?
Yeah, so okay, my TikTok video, okay. I'm kind of struggling to create content for TikTok at one point of time, because I'm like, okay, you know what I do? I say, let me try doing a joke from my set every day. And after that, my friend told me, no, you cannot do that. Later, some famous piece of shit come and rip off your stuff. And the worst thing is they make it theirs, and then you are considered a copy, you know. So that's why I start deleting all my materials away, because I was like, no, it's like that, it's too dangerous. So I started to think like, what should I do? I tried doing some funny greeting videos with just me staring at the camera, shaking my head for 15 seconds. Yeah, and
Yes.
then after that, just put some nice music, and then put some glitter, and yes, that's a TikTok video. And my father said, I want to do TikTok. And I'm like, oh, yeah, can I use your phone to shoot? And he said, can, but I have no data. I was like, okay, no, then I cannot do anything. So why don't I shoot using my video, my camera, and then put it on my platform and see how many views you get. And ended up, he actually, I was like, wow, your view get more than all the other videos combined. Yeah.
See, your dad's famous.
Yeah.
And what was your dad doing in this video? I mean, what was he doing?
He's just taking a sort of like a back scratcher. He's taking his back scratcher and a little, I don't know what is it called. It's like a lantern, but that's ornamental. And then he just do that. He's just doing some stuff for 15 seconds. And then after that, I just put, and then I say, what song you want, pa? And he said, oh, I want the Bonnie M, Daddy Cool, So I put that song, hey, it fits perfectly. So I just put that on, and then everyone, oh, your father very cute, yeah. So it's fun.
I thought it was so interesting because your dad is dancing in this video with this back scratcher and this lantern.
Yeah.
And this video got more views and more likes and comments.
all my own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great. He looks like a very fun person to hang out with.
Yeah, he is. In fact, the time I spoke to, the psychiatrist also asked me about my dad, and said, how is your dad like? Because they also want to know when they do a diagnosis, they want to find out who are your family members as well, like to know at least their traits or anything. So I spoke about my mom. Spoke about my mom. My mom is someone who doesn't like guests. That means even when it's festive season and all, she will say, no guests, no food, nothing. But the house still need to be clean, No one coming, but the house still need to be clean. That's my mother, And then she don't like it when people come to the house. I mean, some of my father's friends came to the house. Small talk, they do small talk. They were like, wow, this curtain looks good. How much do you buy it for? Where do you get it? And she will show a very angry face, and my father's friend were like, I don't think I should come here. I don't feel welcome, So the only person who comes to my house is my aunt, because at least it's aunt, I mean my mom's sister, but that's about it. So when it comes to festivals and all, I don't feel very festive because my mom, she don't like guests and she don't like visiting as well. So she'll say, I want to watch my TV. I'm not going out, I'm watching my TV. She's more interested in watching TV on a Chinese New Year, where we are going out to celebrate and all. And she's like, no, I want to watch the TV. So she'll be at home and she's happy about it. So the doctor was like, I think that your mom has some traits of being on the spectrum, but I don't think she's diagnosed lah, but then definitely got. And how about your brother? I say, yeah, I have a younger brother. This guy, after work, he go inside his room and hide. And he likes repairing clocks. Yeah, he take all the watches, all the old clocks, and then he buys spare parts from all over the world just to fix the clock. Okay, it is enough to function, but not enough to function 100%. It's very specific because you don't want the grandfather clock to gong every 1 hour. So because if it's fully functional, every hour you hear gong, gong. So my brother will repair in such a way that yes, it's ticking, but not to the point it gongs, okay? So then the doctor was like, yeah, that is another trait. In fact, my father even told me casually when he knows that because he started realizing that, oh, your comedy is about you on the spectrum, but I don't know about it because as I said, I only got to know about it very much later. So my dad don't know, but my father said that, hey, I think the autistic trait, I think it comes from your mother and brother, definitely not from my side. Yeah, he said,
there you go. Not from you, not from me.
Definitely not from me. And the thing is, it's true because the doctor also asked me, can you tell me a bit about your father? I say my father is a social butterfly. He is very good with people. He comes to, because recently he just moved in with me. Yeah, my mom is on the border of being abusive, but now thinking that maybe she could be on the spectrum, maybe that's the way why she behaved that way. So, but the thing is, now he moved in during Christmas Eve, and then but the first day he come, he started talking to all the neighbors, and I was like, I stayed here for 1.5 years. I only said hello, like just hello. They say hello to me, I say hello to them, and that's about it. It's like, but I'm not hostile. That means if you talk to me more, you initiate conversation with me, I can talk. But I'm not someone who will go and make the conversation with you. So I was like, wow, my father
Exactly.
come here first day already, make friends. I was like, I'm already here for 1.5 years, nothing, yeah.
But that's not true. I mean, look at me. Sometimes I can initiate a conversation. Other times you'll see me in public and I'm not talking to fucking nobody. So I guess part of it, I think Jane's seen me in public like that before, where you've seen me at a mic and I'm not interacting with anybody. I don't even want to be talked to. And then there's other times, hey, hi,
Yeah.
how you doing?
Like,
What's
you
up? Woo! Yeah!
I talked to my friend for like, we were like on the street corner and you were telling my friend about your business and the hours were just going by.
Yeah. And then there's other times where you've seen me and I'm like, just leave me the fuck alone. I don't know anybody. So I don't know if that's exactly true.
I'm with Juliana. I wouldn't know my neighbors unless you just walked out and said hello to me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to be in my house and you could find me online. I am more than happy to be online friends with you. That's right.
I think that's also the crazy part is there's varying parts of the spectrum. Like, we talk about Big Bang Theory as being a show about a whole bunch of people.
Sheldon.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I'm a black Sheldon in a lot of ways. And I'm mad you guys laugh. You know what I mean? There's a lot of truth to that, right? But people talked and all those guys have their different problems. And I'm kind of like Kutha Pauli in the sense that I'm not smooth with women. It's not like I walk up and go, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? That is not me at all. And I felt like I don't, the sensing thing, like I really don't read normal people well. Like if I think a normal person's hitting on me, I'm probably wrong. You know what I mean? If I think somebody on the spectrum's hitting on me, I don't even think they're hitting on me. It's like, you've been talking to me for more than 5 minutes. That means you like me, right? And that's
that must be it, right?
Yeah, that's the spectrum way of flirting. We've had a conversation for more than 10 minutes, and I'm single and you're single. Should we do something about this?
I'm trying to communicate with my eyeballs and like my brain, the waves. Is it working?
Yeah. Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Like autistic people are just like women. Like you don't know what I'm thinking. You can't tell. And it's no.
I do walk around sometimes if a person is talking to me more than 5 or 10 minutes. Sometimes I will say I'm not interested. I'm just sorry. I'm just
yeah.
That's hilarious. Like, oh my God. And then that's something I've had to catch myself on, is because I'm so friendly that sometimes I'm not hitting on you. Like I'm just being friendly. And then like I guess the way I care about people, like in public, I'll see a woman and I'll be like, do you need a ride home? Are you okay? And they just look at me and go, not like that. I just know that something's not right. You know what I mean? Like I've checked on people and there's that, I guess autism and big black guys is kind of scary.
I was gonna say I'm gonna say something hella racist, but yes.
You're also one of the tallest dudes I know, so like that's not how.
Thank you. Duante is very tall.
Oh my God! But thanks to Zoom, we are all equal height.
Equity, man, equity.
Yeah.
Actually, Jane looks the tallest right now. She's got her long neck going.
I have the tall energy now. It compensates for how short I am in real life. The thing is, I'm short for a white person, but I'm tall for an Asian, so it's like.
Yeah. How tall are you?
I'm like 5'5.5".
Oh yeah, it's considered tall in Asia.
Yep. Yeah, Asians are like 5'2" and then below.
No, I'm actually 5'1".
Shit.
So I'm like so happy when I meet. Suddenly on the Zoom, I was like, yes, I feel like I'm tall. I'm equal. There's equality in Zoom. Yeah.
I also want to show off my
and
outfit.
I'm sorry, what?
I also got to show off my outfit too.
Oh, wow, right? I love the purple. Love the pastel.
Yeah, I love it too. Love the pastel color.
Well, I know the ladies had some good questions for you. I know Jane had a couple questions. Come on, shoot them at her.
Cool.
Let's get the good questions going. Come on.
Let's talk about how Asian society views autism.
Oh, that's
Talk
good.
more about that.
That's great. So speaking about autism, it's like earlier on I mentioned that again they don't see it as a spectrum. They see it as either yes or no. You are either autistic or not. So anything that's you are on the spectrum, you could be on very high end. I mean, I don't really like using that because spectrum is not like okay from the lowest to the highest. It's more a combination of traits. So that is more the understanding of autism. But unfortunately, in Malaysia, people who understand is dichotomy. That means it's like binary system, like yes or no. You know, it's similar to the gender binary where they only believe in male and female. There's nothing in between. You know, it's black and white, right and wrong. You know, so we tend to be very dichotomous in the way we look at things. And the people who understand slightly, they will look at it as low end, high end, which is not very fair because I've known of some people, although they are perceived as the low end, but their sense of empathy is very strong. They can read people, although they may not be very verbal, they can't speak, they need someone else to help them, but they can sense if that person is evil or not, you know. But people like me, I can be very verbal, I can be very friendly and all, but when it comes to reading people, I'm really bad at it. I always think that's why I got into a few things that I'm not supposed to go in, like for example, like network marketing, you know, or even some things that I'm not supposed to do. Like I was in a job where my boss actually asked me to trick people, and I mean trick people, no lies, just asked me to memorize a bunch of answers when closing a sale. You know, it may not be true, but it closes a sale. But for me, yeah, it happens, you know.
Hold on, I'm a
Yeah.
great salesman, and I've always got numbers, and I've got logic.
Yes.
If you tell me
Yeah.
20% and then 5%, that's
Yeah.
1% of the original number. So if we
Yeah,
can just
so-
talk to 100,000 people, that's
Yes.
1,000. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so that's why it's like, yeah, it's like it makes sense. And the thing is, that's why when my father told me that I don't like this person you are dealing with, because from what I look, they look sketchy or they look like insincere, you know. But for me, I can't tell. I thought that they are thinking about me. I think that they are being nice to me. They're giving me opportunity. They're helping me out. You know, that's what I'm thinking. I always thought that the thing is, I always think that everyone is nice people unless they really go out of their way to hurt me, or either to like say mean things in front of me directly. That means no sarcasm, nothing, just right in front of me telling the things as it is. But unfortunately in Asia, again, people are they don't dare to look like the bad person. You know, they don't want to be the mean person, so they will try to sugarcoat things. They will tell you in indirect way, in a sarcastic way, hoping that you get. And unfortunately, being on the spectrum, I cannot read any of this. So I'll be like I remember when I was performing comedy, one of the comic actually asked me to go take a hike. So, but that time I genuinely thought that taking a hike is actually to climb up the mountain. So I bought my hiking boots. Yeah, I was like, yes, you know, taking a hike, you know.
Tuesday, Wednesday, the morning, afternoon. When do you want to do this? Yeah.
And after that, when I came back to the comedy club next week, they were like, huh, this person don't get us. Why is she back again? I already told her to take a hike, you know. So it's hilarious. And then again, Malaysian has a stigma when it comes to people on the spectrum, because they think that you're abnormal. Nobody wants to marry you, you know, that kind of stuff. So every time you have to, when people keep it, that means I have a lot of friends in Asia who were diagnosed with autism formally by their doctor. But again, the parents will request, can you put this off records? Like, don't put it in any documentation. I know my son knows, that's all. We don't want the whole world to know, you know, because to them, if they feel that, oh, what if my son can't get a job when they grow up? Nobody wants my son, you know, my son is on the spectrum. He is perceived as disabled, you know, he is not normal, you know. So everyone is discriminating. In fact, the time when my father was on the phone with me, when I first told him I'm looking for a psychiatrist, I want to get diagnosed. The time my mom overheard the conversation, she overheard and she cried, you know. She cried. And then the time I told my father told me, oh, your mom cried when she heard that you're getting a diagnosis for your autism. And I said, wow, she cares for me. My father said, no. She just said after that, I can't believe I give birth to a weirdo, you know.
Yeah. Oh, God, damn.
Ouch, you know. She's like, I can't believe I give birth to a weirdo, you know. So I was like, that is what a lot of people in Asia, because my mom is, you can say, the embodiment of the what you call the traditional still stuck in the 50s Asian woman. They still think that, woman cannot talk on stage. You must do the dishes, cook the rice, whatever. So for her, she think that she gave, be a good wife. Yes, she said that, oh, I can't believe I gave birth to a weirdo. And there was like, for me, that means most of the Asian people that means they are not like very open to a lot of things around them. They are still stuck in their era. A lot of them will think that being autistic is a freak, so she's upset, she's angry, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that is the perception. And then at work, sometimes people may take advantage of you. They will like, they know somehow when you tell people that you are on the spectrum, you are in a way opening yourself up to that's why they say vulnerability. You are kind of opening up to people to manipulate, because they say, you don't know this, you don't know how to read facial expression, you don't know how to read body language, cannot read sarcasm. So let me figure out how to manipulate you. So it can be quite awful. So that's why sometimes I have a few friends who are kind of like my ally, whereby they are people who will listen for me. They will listen for me, or they will observe for me. Like my dad is a person who is good with observing. That means he can tell me that this guy looks shady, don't deal with him, this kind of stuff. And I have another friend who sort of, he can smell bullshit, like somebody is trying to manipulate me or what, he can smell, and then he will just say, no, cannot, because for me, I tend to think of everyone as good, until they prove it otherwise. But some people are downright mean. That means they will tell you as it is. And I appreciate those kind of people. At least they bother to tell me that they hate me or anything, rather than those who are trying to say, I hate you, but I don't want to be direct about it. So let me figure out how to play around with you, and also being on the spectrum, when it comes to job, come to work and all, people will tend to think that, your intelligence is lesser. I remember there's this one time, a few of us comics we gather, and then we were chatting, we're like, hey, we are chatting. And then after that, somebody kind of like matchmake me with another comic and say, yeah, I think you both look cute together. You should, go. And then after that, he said, no, she's on the spectrum. I don't want, something like that. And then also, I'm normal, she's abnormal, something like that. And then after that, but the other friend, luckily the person who was asking the question, she said, oh, that is ableism, that's not true. I mean, I'm glad she said that. She said there's no such thing as being superior, because you are neurotypical, means you're more superior than someone on the spectrum. That's not true. And also, I am not on the spectrum, but I have a lot of breakdowns. I mean, she opened up her own experience, because she is neurotypical, but she occasionally suffers from anxiety and depression. So she said that you can be on the spectrum, but you can be very functional. That means you can still get things done. You are emotionally stable. Then I could be neurotypical, but I'm not functioning. That means I cannot even work because I can't focus. I'm too worried, So I'm glad that she kind of cleared the air up, So it's very good to have people who understand. Yeah.
Is everybody has a different interpretation. Like, a lot of people look at me and I go, I'm deaf in one ear, and they go, no way, really? And then they go, I thought you were just black and that's why you're loud. And I'm just like, fuck you guys, you know what I mean? Like, and it's the same idea. Like, I remember I talked to, I think it was at Juliana when I talked to you about this, and it was like a lot of ideas of what autism is are identified in Asian culture, just being Asian, you know what I mean? Like being quiet, not being, you know what I mean? Like the average person in Asia, if you come to America, you're going to seem somewhat autistic because we're such a what's the word I want to say? Flamboyant, expressive culture, right? So when you first come over here as immigrants, there's a difference in culture. And it's like, there's a lot of people that want to throw that label out there like it's bad. And I had a couple of people who are autistic. That's our superpower. Yeah. I can do calculus because I'm autistic. And, like they'll tell you I get this super focus when I really want to focus. Yes. Oh, I'm unstoppable. In about a half hour, I can write a whole script and come up with a whole new idea. So, and like last night, I got jealous because these two fuckers were getting creative while I was on a podcast. I was over here like, fuck you guys. No creativity. Yay. I'm not allowed to be it. Like, I can't even focus on what I'm doing because awesome. You guys are creating without me. This is bullshit. It's not awesome. I was quite mad. I was literally like, this is bullshit.
But all caps.
Yeah.
That's right. He had the all caps on. When you all caps Dante is writing, we know we got.
That means it's this voice. Fuck you guys. Hey! You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, it's weird because, you know, so many people, I guess you look at this and like and the more I talk to you guys, the more I know I'm somewhere on the spectrum. I'm functionally on the spectrum. I've had to function. You know what I mean? Like you get left alone, you function. I grew up an only child with a lot of issues, so I had to function. But like you said, it's a mask. Because when you get me alone, you can tell I'm autistic. When you get me alone and you see my room and you see like, look, here's a prime example. My shirts are color coordinated.
That's color coordinated. Yeah.
Rainbow order.
This is amazing.
Even the other side, all my shirts are color coordinated. It don't matter what it is, right?
Wow, that's amazing.
No, it's not. It's frustrating because let there be one shirt out of order. Or when I put stuff away and I put it in the wrong spot and I'm like, I know I got a gray sock. I've spent hours looking for a gray shirt only to find that I put it in the blue. This shit's not funny, you guys. I'm glad, but it's these little intricacies. And I don't think people understand that autism is not always awkwardness. Autism is not always weirdness. If you're around the right people, I should say, autism is your uniqueness and the intricacies that make you special. So like I know Audra's been around me, Jane's been around me. Like there's a certain way I do everything. I don't care what it is. There's a certain way I do it, and if I got to do it that way, and the show's got to. And we're all Juliana's laughing. She's like, "Yeah, you've got," you know what I mean? But that's not autistic. It is autistic, but it just right. It just it's autastic. It's fantastic.
Yes, autastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And that's like that whole idea that you're not handicapped, you're handy able, and I'm
handy hat.
Yeah, handy hat. Right, but how do we get? And that's where, like, even in this interview, you started off angry, and I could hear it in you talking about before you accepted who you are. And I think a lot of it is people are accepting who we are now, right?
Yep.
You're allowed to be weird. You've got shows like Big Bang Theory. And I had a discussion with somebody who said they didn't like it. And I was like, do you know how expressive it was for people with mental health issues and Asperger's and autism to see somebody? And they're like, what do you mean? Sheldon's just an asshole. And I'm like, Sheldon is not an asshole. He's just giving you his logical response to everything.
Sheldon is communicating. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Jane?
And he still thinks he's the coolest dude in the world.
That's right.
So cool, you know, like superpower.
Like, if you like pay attention to Sheldon, you can see through the show that he like struggles to understand why everyone's mad at him, and then over time he learns how to make compromises, especially for Amy. And then he's like, oh, I need to learn how to work with these people that I deem my friends, that they should like be so grateful, and then that will make them happy so that they're not mad at me. And then he's like, oh, feelings, empathy, it's all
Stop talking
sense.
about me, Jane. This sounds like an attack. This really sounds like an attack right now. Is this an intervention?
For the shoot to fit.
This isn't a podcast anymore. This is just an intervention for Duante.
Roast part two.
Therapy session, yeah.
Just to let you know, we brought Juliana on here so you can identify with what we were talking about. You get it now. Oh God. But there's a lot of truth to that, though. When you think about, you know, even like with you in your story, Juliana, is you had to get used to who you were, and once you get, it sounds like it's kind of like a superpower. Once you understand your power, oh my God, it's great, right? And I think that's the biggest message we could get out of this is like, if people really understood how much autism isn't a negative. Because I find that I care about things more than people know. That's not a negative, right? I actually want to be a good person 90% of the time, even though I look like I'd be a douchebag, right? And you know what I mean? Like you ask these guys that I've cared about things and sent Jane messages, and she's cried and been like, I didn't know you noticed. And I was like, I did notice. Of course I did. Go ahead, Jane.
Yeah, I was just reacting. It's like, yes, because like you're like one of the most caring peoples I know.
and people don't understand that autistic people, we don't know how to, like, every day I've had to work on like expressing, instead of just shutting down or getting mad, like I heard you kind of express that you do, you have to tell them you're hurting my feelings. And it's weird when I tell people that and express it, because most of the time people go, oh shit, I didn't know you had feelings, or okay, right? Or then you get the other side where people really just don't understand, and you cry to yourself and you're hurt, but you know why. And I think understanding that is bigger than anything else. Do you know what I mean? That self-understanding. How would you, I mean, just hearing your story, it sounds like when you finally understood that there was a reason for who you were, and being autistic wasn't a bad thing, it's just who you were. It sounds like that kind of freed you up a little bit.
Yep.
Damn it, I knew that's how this was going to happen. I talked to, well, that was the funny part, is I talked to Audra about this. It's like, we're going to have people on the spectrum. And so I'm going to ask certain questions, and they're just going to go, yes.
Yep.
No.
Yes.
They're not going to, that sounded good. That sounded.
You did. It was good. You didn't elicit a response. The response was, yes, I agree.
Correct response.
Correct response.
I'd also like to point out that, like, Duante, since you're a male, I think we should also acknowledge that, like, you're expected to already, like, not have feelings and be strong and stuff, and it's super unfair.
Thank you.
Yay.
That's what we talked about when she said, you know, I'm weird and I'm not expressive. You're black. That's what being a black man is, right? And so I found, like, even through my own expression, the more I express, the more people are like, why are you doing that? And it's because you have to. Who's going to break this idea that we can't be expressive, right? And I think that's kind of what the show's about, is being autistic or Asperger's or any of those things doesn't mean you can't be entertaining.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't mean you can't chase your dream. And so
seriously, if anyone who's watching this now, if you have not seen Juliana's performances yet, check them out. Seriously funny. I have never laughed so hard when I was watching them on Dante's. I can't remember which show it was that you did, Duante, but Labor Day Laughs. And it was so hilarious. Cracking up to myself.
Yay.
Well, won't you tell us, Juliana, what's your new special you're working on?
Okay, I've been working on the current special I'm working on has been, I've been working on it since May 2020, when the lockdown first started, 2 months later. So it is like part comedy, part spoken word poetry, and also storytelling. So this special is like, it's very special to me, because it is like, I actually accumulated about 20 to 25 minutes of comedy materials that are quite personal. In my either being on the spectrum or other things in life, because being on the spectrum doesn't mean that you only talk about being on the spectrum. I also feel invisible. I felt that I'm not seen. Yeah. And people were like telling me, oh, you're not seen. But I say, yeah, there's a reason why I'm active on social media, that kind of stuff. And also, I also dabble in suicidal thoughts, So these are all things that I talk about in my comedy. And my poetry is about a spoken word piece that's very special. It's about autism as well. And finally, it's a story about me coming from a dysfunctional family. So that part will highlight about why I actually left home. How do I come about to leave my dysfunctional family and start to pursue my dreams and also be myself. Because when you are living with a narcissistic parent, it's hard to find your own identity, and there's a lot of things that I cannot do. Like stand-up comedy is one thing that I cannot do, especially in Asia, because they think that, oh, a woman must stay at home, cook, whatever, no standing up on stage and talk. And then also I say that if this is my brother would have, there's a lot of patriarchy involved as well. So if my brother is the one standing on stage and talk, I think my mom would be very happy. It's only I go up to the stage and talk and she cannot accept it. So there's a lot of difficult things that I tell in my storytelling, because until now I'm still trying to work out on how to make it funny. Although a lot of my comedian friends who heard about the story, they said that, wow, this can be a special on its own. It's like your family is so dramatic. It's like too many a lot of funny things happening. It's just that I'm still feeling the pain, so I'm still finding it hard to make it very funny. But to tell it as a story, it is a nice thing. It's a nice thing where people don't feel alone after listening to it, because being on the spectrum is not just one dimension. We have a lot of things that we encounter in life, and sometimes, unfortunately, even doesn't mean that you are special, means you are given the privilege to ride the free way of life where you're free from difficulty and all. It's not true. You're still being thrown with a lot of curveballs along the way. So you have to still be strong and fight towards it. But knowing that you have the superpower of being on the spectrum, sometimes it helps ease things a bit. So it helps you to it's like a bit of a, they call it the padding, where you can feel like, I'm being protected somewhat, from the cruelty of the world, the kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
yeah, so that's why I want to let people know that doesn't mean that you're on the spectrum means life is over, because a lot of people thought that the moment they know that they are on the spectrum, life is over. But it's not true. It is the step to start understanding yourself as who you are and to explore your life. So in fact, from then on, I started to be very accepting to myself and also able to talk about my experiences more freely. And a lot of people were surprised that, wow, you are very open. You can talk about things very openly. And for me, it's because I've been doing this for a while. It's like I've been telling people, openly telling my story to people for quite some time. So it's easy. I already cracked open compared to me trying to hold things together, back in the what I call pre-discovery day, when I think that I need to be perfect. I need everything to be in order, which is still true today, being everything in order. And also everything needs to be perfect and I have to be as good as everyone else. But I forget that by doing that, I actually ignore my own uniqueness, because if I want to follow other people, that means I have to kind of deny my own special thing, own feeling, I'm distracted by my dog drinking water.
No way! The
there
autism
it is.
kicked in. She's like, I didn't plan for that. There's water on the left. What the fuck is going on? I told you to sit. Like, yeah. No way. Really? Your attention span got a little taken away. I never would have guessed that. That's like, I don't. The one that killed me is and I haven't talked about this yet, but have you seen the show Love on the Spectrum?
Not yet, but it's already on my to watch list. Yeah.
What the fuck? You get some cues here. No, I'm just fucking with you. There's a lot of truth to it. So I watched this. Has anybody else seen the show Love on the Spectrum?
I have not, but
What the fuck?
but
No,
wait.
Hold on, stop.
Wait.
We had a black president and I voted for him just because he was black. We got an autistic love romance show and you fuckers aren't supporting it. You're part of the problem. That's the problem.
Wait. So an indirect friend of mine, Ruth, who happens to be deaf as well. She's autistic. She's actually on the show.
I know. I didn't know that was her friend, but yeah, she's hilarious as fucking
Ruth,
hell.
Yeah.
Oh, she grabbed the little boy's ass and was telling it. Oh, you gotta fucking watch this shit. So I watched it with a friend who was a lady friend who was not autistic, and we're both sitting there and she goes, yeah, you're definitely slow. You're and I just kind of looked at her, hey, but you watch this show. And it's true, like you got to find some comment. Like they're teaching David about love, and David's this guy, and he's just like, I'm gonna be the perfect husband. I can't wait to get married. I can't wait to cherish somebody. And it's just like, oh God. And then you see these train wrecks to get together, and it's like, it's beautiful. There's one couple on there, they've been together for like 2 or 3 years, and the one girl's just bossy, and the other guy just likes it, and it's
whatever
beautiful.
Works for them, right?
Well, yeah, and that's what I mean. It's just beautiful. And then it's just a reminder that people on the spectrum aren't any different than people who aren't. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that you deal with because you're on the spectrum, but then there's a lot of things we don't deal with because we're on the spectrum. Right? Like we don't know when we're being insulted most of the time. So we cry when we figure it out. When we figure it out, we cry real hard. Like, oh, they didn't mean nice shirt. You mean I've been happy all day because he said nice shirt. You're telling me they didn't mean it, right?
Yeah, this is
And then you have to analyze everything about that one comment. Yes.
Yeah.
Why
And
did
for me,
she say as if?
it's tricky. It's really funny. It's like one time I remember there's this one when I was doing a show at a comedy club. It's an open mic night, and yeah, sometimes at open mic night you may have stuff that don't work. And that time the host what she said was oh, okay. So, thank you, Juliana. So, up next is a younger and much more talented person, and then give it up to so and so. And the time I did not, it just flew past me. I did not even hear that comment, because I think being on the spectrum, it kind of protect me, shielded me from all this funny stuff. And the time I don't even know until 3 a.m. because that time I was dating with a guy. So that time he's like saying that, do you know how angry I am? Because he's also a fellow comic. He said, do you know how angry I was when I heard her comment about you right after you get off the stage? And I said, what comment? And he said the exact same thing to me. And I was like, what do you want me to do with this comment? She's already asleep, I can't even manage myself,
Slash your tires! Slash your tires! No.
And the next morning, somebody another comic sent me a text, and then I'm a bit busy, so I did not reply. He called me straight away to check in. He said, Juliana, I'm so sorry. I heard that that woman actually say shit about you. And then he repeat the exact same sentence again to me. He said, I hope you're okay. And I said, dude, I'm actually okay yesterday, but after both of you talk to me, the more you talk to me about it, the more angry I get.
Say the worst
like, why? Don't tell me, just let me. I did not receive it in the first place, You all keep telling me, then I get angry, Yeah.
I love it because it's almost like dissociation when you're talking in a conversation and you leave your own body and you're obviously all of a sudden you're just not listening anymore. And I want to ask, how many of you autistics out here are now dissociating and not listening to parts of these conversations? Because I know I have twice. So.
Oh yeah, when something hits a bell and somebody's talking and you go into that emotional party that goes, I remember how that felt, and you just tune out everybody and you're just crying on the inside, and the next thing you know, you're over that and you go, oh, there's a conversation going on. Oh yeah. What are we doing?
Juliana.
To planet Earth.
Oh, go ahead, Janejira.
Oh, like that's what the feeling is. Like it's like you're here, but your brain, it's not here.
It's not.
Over there. It's over there. It's everywhere. And then you're like, oh wait, hold on. People are looking at me, and they probably think that I'm thinking something. I need to look more like I'm thinking something.
That I understand. Juliana, can I steal your word pre-discovery, because I love it. We love to say that we have the spectrum anniversary of like when we were diagnosed, but I love the term pre-discovery. That's just it's fantastic.
Because there's really a difference between when you're diagnosed and when you discover.
Yeah, there is.
Because for some people, you can be diagnosed and still not accept it, right? Yeah. There's some people that are never diagnosed but have discovered it. Yeah. And then there's just some people that are assholes,
Yeah.
That's everywhere.
Yeah. And for me, it's like I feel that when it comes to pre-discovery, it's like I think it is an important phase as well, because it allows you to accept yourself while waiting for the formal diagnosis, which can take time. Because for me, this coming Wednesday, the doctor already said that you have traits of being on the spectrum, so we're sending you to do a sort of like speech and hearing test, so to sort of like get a more accurate diagnosis that means they will match a few diagnoses, a few tests to get a very strong evidence, and only they will sign off to say that you are on the spectrum. And they even want to get my dad to like at least give some evidence, like just like to say, okay, how is Juliana when she's a child, those kind of stuff. So my father will come in on after, like towards the end of the journey, where to now is I haven't do the test yet, so I will do that first, and then I see what the doctor has in mind for me. And after that, towards the end, you'll get my father in to just say a few things, and once everything is like okay, it's clear, then most likely they will diagnose me as most likely on Asperger's syndrome. That is the closest that I lean to based on my history and the traits that I have. Yeah.
Well, good luck.
Hey, good luck. Good luck. Fuck, I don't have anything else for you. You got any other questions, Jane? Janejira?
No, that was all my questions. Audra, do you have any questions?
Well, before we get out of here, I know we've had a good conversation this morning. I want to make sure we know
Yay.
where you're at. Tell us about your social medias. Where can they find you? What's your TikToks, your website, all that?
Ooh, I have a list of it. Let's find it. Yeah, I need to just open my Gmail and copy paste.
Well, I've got it here. I was hoping you'd tell
you
us
got
about
it?
your stuff. Jesus, this is the autistic
Again, you asked
interpretation.
for it.
Will you tell us
Ouch.
about it? Will you verbally tell everybody who's watching? So when they're watching right now, they can tune in. Where do they find you, Juliana?
Okay, so I'm still looking for that email I sent to myself on all my social media platforms. Yes, I just want to make sure that yes, I have my own. Let me just copy paste to the group chat so everything is in one. Ha ha ha. Yes. Okay. Copy paste. Where am I? I make sure that I'm in the right window. Yeah. Okay. Copy paste. Yay!
Yay! Thank you.
Yeah.
So verbally, I guess I'll do it since she didn't hear me. You can find Juliana on Instagram at mxjuliana heng. Also find her on Facebook, Juliana Heng. There's only one N in Juliana. YouTube's Juliana Heng. Also, I see her on TikTok as MX Juliana Heng.
Yes.
You have a full website. Yeah, mxjulianaheng.com. What's your next big show? Where can they find you at? Where's the next big show, or where will they see you at next?
Show. Okay, I'm checking my social media. That's all my documents. Yeah. Let me just check. Yeah. Next show. Okay.
See, this is how busy they are. They gotta check their schedule.
Yeah, I'm checking. So yeah, I'm actually in the midst of I do curate shows as well. So I will be more active because I'm working with a collaborator on one is a bilingual show in Malaysia, whereby in open mic show where it's in Malay, which is our national language, and also in English. So I'll be working with someone to do the show, and also my own showcase where I'm actually doing it's curated, so it's not open mic. I'll be getting based on theme. Like for example, there's something called all women show, and also the autistic comedian show, and also one more is the anniversary. Yes, my I Love KL is having its third anniversary this year. So this is really something to celebrate about. In spite of all the pandemic, every month I'm still making sure I run a show. And if you look at my social media for I Love KL, I dare to say that I did not miss any single photograph of my performers. Everyone who performed on the platform has a photo there that is like evidence, of them performing on stage. And a lot of people were like wondering, like, why do you do that? Like for me, it's just nice to see completeness. Everything is in place. And if someone told me they want to change their photo, I will just say, fuck you. I have to remove another 6% behind you.
Hold on, what did you say? Hold on, I want you to say that again because I'm a producer and I get so fucking tired. And Janejira is the one doing the work. Ask her. All of a sudden, I need one more change. So again, say that again. If you want your photo changed on the flyer, what do you say, Jay? What do you say, Juliana?
So for me, it's like when I was doing my Instagram album, I would take screenshot of every performer or even their photos and all. And there will be some comics who told me, I don't like this photo. It doesn't show me in a good light or whatever reason they have. And I was like, damn it, I already put intro photos and then you are number 5. So I have to remove another 7. And then to be able to throw your photo out, change a new one and put all the 7 back. It's like, because I make sure that the order is still correct. Like literally the order of appearance, like from the opening act to the headliner, it's like it's all just complete and it's perfect, that kind of stuff. That's the obsession I have when it comes to
It's got to be the same.
album.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
it
get
must
it.
be consistent,
Yes,
Yeah. So
I get it.
Describing the poster design process.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. I was like, I have to throw out another 7 people because of that.
She's like, just fuck you. If you want changes, fuck you. I'm with that. I just like that answer. I just wanted you to say fuck you again. For me, I know you had a couple projects highlighted for us, so I wanted to make sure we told them about them. I see you're doing Walking on the Spectrum, for the
Yeah.
Asheville Fringe Artist Festival.
Yes.
That'll be January 20th and 23rd. And then I
Correct.
see you're on the Tucson Fringe Festival also. That's February 4th through February 7th. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
And then is there anything else you'd love to tell us about? I mean, it sounds like we've got you in a nutshell. Do you have
Yay.
any merch they can buy? Do you have anything for sale? What's up?
No merch. The only merch I have is a show ticket, you know, a Asheville Fringe show ticket. You know, that's
Oh.
about it. So you can just get it on the Asheville Fringe website. Yeah, Asheville Fringe Festival website. Then
Okay.
there's the ticket for sale. So I mean, I'm not at the point where I can sell stuff yet, but I hope to, you know, yeah, someday just get. But for me, it's most importantly, as a comedian, you know, I hope that what sells is not my stuff, it's the jokes, you know. Yeah. That
Exactly.
is, yeah, it's like, because you can sell a lot of stuff, but you're not, like some people tell me that, oh, you want to make money from comedy, very easy, produce show. Yes, this is one of the way to make money as a comedian, but I want people to pay me for the work I do, for the comedy I do, not just because I book a few comic and then, yeah, you know, this kind of stuff. I want people to recognize me for the jokes I write, you know, rather than just, oh, okay, she put show together. I mean, it's a good thing. It's a nice to have, but the core of being a comedian is you need to have jokes, you know. That is what I think. It's like best thing, you need to go back to basic, be good in your jokes, then the other things are all bonus, merchandise and all, they're just nice add-ons, you know. At the end of the day, it's the jokes. Yeah.
Yes.
I heard her
exactly.
talking about me. Like it's okay to be SuitMan and produce shows, but are you funny? Are you funny though? Yeah. Fuck you guys. Fuck all you
Yeah.
guys. All you
That
ladies are
producer.
laughing. Yeah. You guys are jokes. Fuck all you guys. I heard what you said. You know what I mean? All you guys. But give it up one more time for Juliana Heng. Give it up for
Yay,
our
thank you,
special
Julia.
host,
Thank
Our
you
guest
so
host.
much.
Janejira Damron. Give it up for her as well. She'll be
Yay, Janejira.
I think
Yay.
if you're open to it, you want to be our guest host when we interview Janejira next month. Juliana, would you like to be back on next month and help
Oh, that would be
interview?
nice. It's just
That'd be
that
nice.
just let me know the date, you know. Yeah, because I have to do time conversion and all. Yeah, which I like actually.
We'll get it in your
Secretly, I like time conversions actually. A lot of my comics were like, I hate all this time conversion. I was like, this is fun, you know, to calculate the times. And for me, it's like, whenever you all give a time, I kind of like, yeah, I can work it out in my head. I don't even need to. But there are times I just want to double confirm, so I Google up to validate myself. You know, like, yes, I'm correct. Yeah.
That's a good one. I love it.
Validation.
Is that a
Self-validation.
test for autism? If you like to do math, you're autistic. That's fucked up.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna say another stereotype.
I was an accountant, but I hated maths. I don't like that kind of maths.
Hate
But
the
for
maths.
me, is when it kind of comes to, because they all ask me, I have a comic who asked me, Juliana, you hate why you quit your accounting job? You hate money, is it? I say no. I just prefer. You hate counting money, is it? I say yeah. I prefer counting my own money. You know. Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
That was the
Yeah.
hardest part about working at a bank is like you don't get to keep any of this. There's no tip. Like I can't be off by just $100 bill. Who cares? I'm 99% right? Like
Yes.
that's the they don't
and
go
fair.
for
It
that.
is money, but it's not yours.
I
Yeah, I know. That's
Come
what
on,
I'm
man.
feeling. That's what I'm feeling because I've counted up to million back then when I was in my accounting days. When I see million, I was like, why is this million not in my bank account? I'm having that money, but in that, no, I just kidding. Not that much, not that. No, I was like, why? I mean, why is it? Yeah, it's like because now I'm still working on not to say getting out of debt, but in a way trying to get out of the mess that I create for myself in my younger days. So sometimes you believe too many people, you start using your money carelessly because you believe everybody, you know. So and that kind of sucked because now I mean in my 20s, I kind of messed things up. Now I'm 30, so I'm going to like now it's my time for redemption.
Oh, no.
Yes,
I'm in my
yes.
20s.
Redemption. Yeah.
Well, give it up.
This is great. It's so fun.
Give it up one more time. We're gonna end this here. It's been a great time.
Thank
This
you
is the
so much,
first-
Duante,
This is the first.
Janejira, and Audra.
Yeah, this is our
Thank
first
you.
episode of the Autastic Artists, Beautiful Minds. Autastic, combination of fantastic and autistic. Catch us every Sunday live, 8 a.m. for the most part, except for depending on time zone to accommodate
But
guests.
only once a month, not every Sunday.
Oh shit!
Yes.
Close enough.
Once a month.
Every first Sunday. Hey, that's called positive thinking. We're gonna get sponsorship, right?
Yay.
We're working right now. We're doing it every first Sunday. We're working on getting some sponsors and bringing you more content, more Autastic Artists. Check us out. We'll be on Spotify, iTunes. This is all uploading. We recorded a little late this time, so not the whole thing. We missed the first 8 minutes, but most of the podcast will be on there. We've got it live. We'll be on YouTube later today. Thank you for tuning in. Give it up one more time for your co-host, Audra Sisak. Give it up for her. Give it up for our special guest host, Janejira Damron. And of course, our guest today, Juliana Heng. I'm SuitMan, Duante Barnett. Look up SuitMan Productions. Have a great day, and thank you for tuning in, everybody.